What is going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
This is Bryce.
Welcome back to Weekly Wrap Up. This is our weekly comic book review show where we take books that we read last week, we review them, and we break them down for you guys to let you guys know what we thought about them. Oh, wow. This is a little bit of a bittersweet show. We have a lot going on this week. We're going to be having a special guest who is a longtime friend of the show. We have a little bit of announcement to make. We have our next Creators Corner to announce. We're having Mark Wade over. It's going to be Friday, April 15th. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm really excited for that. And then this is also going to be our last Monday show for a while, or for the time being. I think it's going to be every other month. We're going to be rotating from Fridays and Mondays simply because of my work schedule, because I've got a new job. So I'll be selling cars for Volkswagen now. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be a great step in the next direction of my life. So, but this show is not gone forever. It's just moving to another time slot. So we're going to see you guys either Friday or Monday. Just make sure you guys stay tuned on Instagram so we can get you guys the dates as well. Bryce, how are you this week?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. There's actually been, especially over the weekend, it's been a pretty chill weekend. Definitely much needed as I go into the kind of home stretch of my semester. I finish the semester on April 29th. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
We are getting through it, Bryce. You're in the home stretch. We know you're going to finish strong. Get all those A's and B's and A's and B's, right? All A's and B's, right? Your dad's watching, so all A's and B's. Right?
More like B's and C's in the engineering college, but I mean that's.
Hey, whatever gets you in the door, man.
Pretty much.
Not the Duke shirt.
Always.
What's going on, lad?
Win or lose. I'm repping till I die, man.
Thanks for joining, man. We also got Melvin up in here. We got my main man. We got Tim in here. We got Dismay in here. What is going on? Last says his pick was Shadow War Alpha, which we're definitely going to get into. Wow, that was great. We got our main man, Tomorrow Cinema, our favorite hype man, in here. We also got, we got a lot of great people in here. We got Tristan in here. He says, "Sup, guys? Books I got this week: Amazing Spider-Man '93, Immortal X-Men #1, Miles Morales, Hulk, Dark Ages." And we got Nicholas in here, and we got Robin in there. Yeah, we get C's, get degrees, brother. Yes, sir.
Big time. Actually, I thought about getting ASM this week, but I didn't get to.
I did get ASM this week, and I have a lot of thoughts. About ASM. Actually, why don't I share my thoughts on ASM real quick, because it's fresh in my mind.
Get into it.
We are going to start this off. We do have a special guest coming in a little bit, so we are going. And he's here. What's up? Adam? So Adam is going to be joining us backstage in a little bit to talk about his new Kickstarter, his new graphic novel called Shadows. I'm excited to have him on. He's a longtime friend of the show, so I'm excited to help him out and give him the space to share his thoughts on his project. And we got Sal in here. What's going on? Who was just on Crisis on Infinite Rants the other week with myself and Steph. It was a great show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about
it. The X-Men show that he was on.
Yeah, he was on the X-Men show. Underrated
nice.
X-Men. Nice. And all right, so Amazing Spider-Man '93. This is the last issue before the reboot. Why are they rebooting it now at like 894? Who knows? Yeah, the paper quality sucks at Marvel right now, so y'all just gonna have to like get used to that. Like, I think I just dented, I just put 3 dents in my book just by holding it. But you know what? I really don't care about
it. This, which you're going to recognize when I hold up the back cover anyway. I barely, brushed my thumb along the back cover of Immortal X-Men here, and it actually, ripped the back cover a little bit.
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like the staples are just off in this book. Like, I'm holding it like this. This is terrible. Marvel, fix your paper.
Also, Melvin, this is just false. This is just false, brother. Like I don't know what to tell you there. Station Sheena, hi.
But yeah, guys. So let's kick off a bittersweet book with a bittersweet week with a bittersweet book. Wow, this book was more bitter than sweet. This is by Zeb Wells. Patrick Gleason. What has been going on is Ben Reilly seeking answers from the Beyond Corporation, who can restore those memories. Maxine, who has been manipulating him to do his dirty work by giving him the idea that he can be Spider-Man. In reality, Ben knows that ultimately he can never be Spider-Man. He is the clone of Peter Parker, and he is very often misunderstood. So while he has all of these memories of Peter Parker, right, as if they're his own, right, He's trying to reconcile these memories and figure out a life for himself. He's told he can be something bigger, but it's just more manipulation. While he sees like that glimpse at the end of the tunnel, it shuts in front of him, and he's trying to find his way out. That's what's going on here. And him and Peter Parker, he gets like overheated, and him and Peter fight. That's like the whole crux of this issue if you didn't get from the cover. The art by Patrick Gleason's great. He does a great job. Zeb Wells, good storyteller. What I don't like is how they end up fighting, and at the end there's like this big explosion, and there's more, I guess, radiation. And Ben Reilly becomes this new criminal called Schism, who is going to be the next villain of Spider-Man in the relaunch, which, you ask my opinion, I don't like. I don't like this at all. I don't. He looks dope, by the way. He looks dope. Schism looks really sick. That's Schism. But
I believe that's pronounced chasm.
Chasm? Oh, sorry. Was I saying Schism? It's chasm.
Yes.
Sorry. Chasm. Chasm. Sorry, guys. My deepest apologies. Chasm. And you get a Pat Skull at the end. You get a Pat Skull for all the Easter eggs he puts on his Instagram.
Nice, nice.
But why don't I like this book? Why don't I like this book? Why? Yes, Melvin. Chasm. Yes, I got you, Chasm. Why don't I like this book? The reason why I don't like this book is because Ben Reilly has been so misunderstood, and they've been rebuilding his character to come back to like this greatness. And I was thinking of something else. I'm so sorry. I make mistakes too. It's been a week. And it's already Monday.
Today's been a long week, man.
Yeah. Today's been a long week. Yep, exactly. It's another muck and fun day. But I don't like this book I don't like this ending because Ben has been trying to come back to life. They've been trying to rebuild his life with him and Maxine. It was just been on not Maxine. Oh my gosh, I am all over the place. What's his wife's name? Why can't I think Janine? With Janine. Why can't I think today with Janine? I'm so sorry, guys. It's with Janine. And now it's just you're taking all of that back and you're just going in this weird new direction. If Ben's going to be a super criminal, I want him to be the best. I want him to just kill everyone. I want him to take Peter Parker and rip him to shreds. Because I like Ben Reilly. I liked how they built him back and gave him a life. There was that glimpse of hope, and I got really attached to it. They were like, yeah, no, sorry. He's a villain. And it's like, a misunderstood character is now even more misunderstood. And I'm just like, it's not like he went all evil Reed Richards and turned into the Maker. No. This guy was just misunderstood, and no one wanted to help him. And now he's given the same energy the world is giving him. And I get it, Ben. But I didn't like this because I was rooting for him. I really was.
This seems to me, and I know I haven't been reading ASM, but just based on what you described, Miles is a different enough character where you can have him as Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the same universe and it kind of work. I mean, I still don't think Miles is, doing as well as he deserves to.
No, I think Miles should be ASM. I think Miles should be the Spider-Man in ASM, but that's just me.
It seems to me, and I've kind of coined this the Flash syndrome of when two characters hold the same mantle. When one thrives, another suffers.
Right.
Same thing with like Barry Allen and Wally West, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, Peter Parker and Ben Reilly, evidently, and they're trying it again, coming up with Captain America. So we will see if that theory gets proven incorrect. But
it's funny.
It doesn't seem like it so far.
It's funny because if you look at other iterations of characters, right? Jane Foster has been Thor, right? You've had Laura replace Wolverine for a time. You've had Sam Wilson replace Steve Rogers for a period of time. Why can't we have Miles just be Spider-Man? I think it's time for Miles to be Spider-Man. I'm a big believer in that. But last Spider-Man has had a new iconic vision since Carnage. I guess I could argue
Mr. Negative.
I could argue oh my gosh. Why can't I think of in Spencer's run? Why can't I think of it?
Kindred?
I could argue Kindred because that's what they tried that to me. They tried to make Kindred a major villain. It was terrible and they flopped it. What's up, Nick? How's it going, brother?
What's going on, Nick?
Us today. But I don't know. I think that if he is going to be a villain, he needs to be the best of all time. Like, he needs to go down as a top 5 villain, or else it'll flop. Because his character has so much backstory and so much history for it to be anything but, like, you just look at him, or you would know Ben. We've seen him grow, we've seen him develop, and I'm like, dude, go ahead, do it. Be the best villain ever. At least you're going to be the best at something. Be the best villain, and I'm here for that. I want that to happen. If not, it'll be a suck.
Yeah.
I don't think Ben is fully evil. All he wanted was his memories back from beyond. Yeah, but now he knows that he can't get those, so he's going for one Flynn.
I could see. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other heroes that have gone bad and stayed bad before,
Right.
and I really can't think of any. But I mean, if they did that with Ben, like it would kind of be uncharted territory.
By the way, yeah, all new Wolverine was great. I don't know. Maybe like Miles is Spider-Man, and Chasm is villain. That'd be dope. I would dig
But
that.
what relationship does Ben have with Miles though?
Because I do think hired to like basically bitch slap him for being Spider-Man, to having the brand Spider-Man. He's like, I'm a brand Spider-Man. Brandon now, bitch. I'll smack you up. And he realized he's like, oh wait, I can like.
There's a reason I'm in this crappy costume.
Yeah, right. He's like, this is all Brandon now. But I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan of that, of what's going on with. I was like, it can, if it's going to work, it has to be top 5 villains all time, right? And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. It has to be. It has to. You got to give this like almost like the Null treatment. Like, people have to be excited about it. This has to impact something, right? In order for, just because of the history that Ben Reilly has. But I don't know. I haven't had a whole lot of faith in the Spider-Man office for years, right? Starting with Nick Spencer, and now that we're in this newer part of Spider-Man, I just don't have. They just haven't done anything to prove me wrong. It's like they started, and I'm like, and it is what everyone says it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Zeb Wells is a pretty good storyteller.
Yeah.
John Romita Jr.'s art in the promo pages has looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what this new ongoing could end up being?
Right.
You know, maybe we see Spider-Man go down a path we haven't, really seen in a while.
Well, it's fitting, because that would be dope, right? Because in recent years, we've just seen Spider-Man spiraling back in everything that we already know about him.
Yeah.
That's what Nick Spencer's run was. That was the whole thing. That was Nick Spencer's entire crux, is let's merge whatever Peter David did in Spectacular Spider-Man, everything that David Michelinie did, because I'm a huge fan of that. Oh, yeah, and I have to do a Kindred arc. That's his whole run.
I think Spider-Man at this point, you know how like every now and then, and it was very common with the FF. So like, yeah, the back to basics, so to speak. Like John Byrne went back to basics, Mark Waid went back to basics. I think Spider-Man is kind of due at this point for a back to basics kind of run.
Oh, and I agree with that. I really do, And I thought that was what Nick Spencer's run was supposed to be, right? With him and MJ being back together. That was like the whole reason why people were wanting to pick it up. MJ's back, and then you have the Lizard, who's going to be like the main villain. And then it was like all they were part of Peter Parker. That was just a whole mess, and then it just spiraled out of control from there. But
honestly,
what did you get to this week, Bryce?
Well, I was just going to say, you could do too, like when Tom King did the whole Bat-Cat thing in his Batman run. You could do that with Peter and MJ, except actually have them get married.
Yeah, even though they already got married once. Yeah, I would just, those variants.
But then one more day happened. Like, have them get married again and let it stick.
Stay. Peter Parker should have a kid already. Peter Parker should have a kid already. There's no reason. We even see Batman have a kid. We have Superman has a kid. Why can't Peter Parker have a kid? Miles is eventually going to keep growing, and Peter Parker stays.
One of the best parts of Spider-Man Life Story was when he had kids, and you see him and MJ with their family.
Right.
But and I could talk about Spider-Man, even though I haven't been reading the ongoing. I could talk about like what Spider-Man needs all day if I wanted to.
Oh yeah,
So,
you're living like vicariously through this run with me, like either loving or complaining about it, because it's like either I love it or I cannot stand it.
yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely going to be picking up the new run.
Yeah.
I didn't want to jump into Nick Spencer, and if I was going to read a Spider-Man run, especially where I'm newer to his comics, like I've grown up in Spider-Man media, but I'm newer to his comics. I didn't necessarily want to start with Ben Reilly.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And so, yeah, this new run, like you guys won't see me living vicariously through it. You'll actually see me like have probably passionate reactions to it. But
I'm excited for those very passionate reactions. Bryce, what did you read this week?
A phenomenal book that got extended and was on a short hiatus for a little bit. Swamp Thing, number 11.
Yes.
I forgot how amazing this was. Like I was always recommending it to people after the first 10 issues, but this just throws you right back into the world, continues the story while at the same time kind of starting a new one. So at the end of the initial 10-issue arc, we see Levi and his brother who've both taken on, natural creatures kind of thing. That's true. But you got to know what to do with both of those Spider-Men. Don't be like DC with the Flash.
I think they're resistant to having MJ pregnant again. I mean,
maybe.
They just got to hit a do-over, but I think I don't know. Let's see what Zeb Wells has in store for us.
I think they should take a page out of Robert Kirkman's book and handle it like when Adam Eve was pregnant in Invincible.
Yeah, that could work.
But anyway, basically everybody thinks that Levi is dead at the start of this. Jennifer, his kind of friend / love interest, thinks that he's dead. And, he's not. Everybody thinks he is, but he goes to this lady who I've never seen before, but is allegedly, Miss Holland. I guess she's related to Alec Holland in some way, to ask for help. I guess she was made from the green, and Jennifer thinks that she could help. Meanwhile, we kind of splice in and out of, we go back and forth between that and this situation with this science experiment a la Alan Moore's The Anatomy Lesson. Like this very much feels like a version of that, where this dude, Mr. Pilgrim, is getting his tissue spliced with what appears to be the villain of the first 2 issues from the desert, with the help of Dr. Woodrue. So that's going on. Meanwhile, Swamp Thing, Levi, is trying to protect this area of the green. So he's predisposed at the moment. Jen's trying to find him. Ms. Holland ends up offering to help her. And so they go to where Levi is. So that's what Jen's been up to. She's trying to find Eli, make sure he's alive, help him. Meanwhile, this Mr. Pilgrim, the experiment backfires, and he ends up kind of like in this. Right. Like he straight up looks like death. Like that, you're getting a lot of body horror in this too.
Yeah, I think that Mike Perkins and Rom V are still trying to push like those really big Vertigo vibes. I mean, the way that they're telling this book, the art is honestly like it's really telling this story more so than ever, and that's like classic Swamp Thing, kind of like what Lazasagi. Like, you're right, he is doing a lot of work, just like Alan Moore. Alan Moore laid the footprints, and he's just extending it.
I think Perkins and Spicer are carrying this book as much, if not more, than Rom V.
Exactly.
And I guess at the end, something's going on, like, with Detroit. Like, Detroit is either being, like, terraformed. I think it's being terraformed. And to drink one more.
Bryce, you rooting for Brother Joe tonight?
Hey, yeah, rock chalk Jayhawk, Brother Joe. I mean, I don't want to see North Carolina win. I really don't.
Yeah, let's go Kansas tonight. Hell yeah. We got Raging popping up in here. We got Zen in here. What's going on, guys? Thank you.
But no, this book is honestly, like, I've read a few issues of Alan Moore stuff. I want to read the full run, especially after this, but I'm getting heavy Alan Moore vibes, especially like with a page like this where they get transported to the green. Like, that's honestly some of the best art comics has going on right now.
Right.
Like, if I had to recommend, I'd probably recommend couple indie titles before I'd recommend a big 2 book. But if I had to recommend a big 2 book to somebody that's never read comics before, this would be the book right now. And I mean, there's a lot of great stuff coming out of DC, so to say that is definitely high praise. But
hey, what's up, Greg? How you doing
what
today,
is going
bro?
on, Greg? How's your super pros and chicken costumes?
yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Nah, Greg, thank you so much for joining. It's been a minute since I've seen you here. Hope you're doing well, my brother. But yeah, man, Swamp Thing has been great. I know Manny was talking about this a lot on the monthly comic book review show, which me, him, and Greg and Nick, who we saw earlier, were all on. I think the only ones we're missing are Verno and Verno, but Swamp Thing has been great. I noticed that like a lot of it was similar to Steve Epstein's art, and I was like, oh wait, they did Captain America together, so of course they're gonna rip off each other. This is exactly like Steve. This is a Steve Epstein book. It looks like it, just with different colors. Did you see the cover of Dark Crisis 2? It shows Nightwing versus Slade at a burning Titans tower. It looks awesome.
I have not seen that, but that sounds incredible.
I am reserved on DC right now. I'm just taking it as it is, and we're going with it. Am I lagging? Do I seem laggy? A little bit.
I mean, not really. Not on my end anyway.
We got Adam in here. What's going on, Adam?
Hello. How's
Welcome
it going,
to the
guys?
show. Good. How are you doing, bro?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man.
For anyone who does not know about Adam, we were talking about him earlier in the show. So Adam was one of our first supporters when we started doing work over on IGTV, then later ventured off to YouTube. Adam was always there from jump. You know, he's always one of our first supporters. When I was doing kind of with somebody else, and then Adam was there for the start of it. He's seen like this channel grow, just like Melvin, who's always in our chats. So, you know, big shout out to them. And Adam has a new graphic novel that he would like to talk about. And let us know about the book, bro.
All right, so this is the first one I've ever written. It's called Shadows. It's about a group of rebel hypersapiens, is what I'm calling them. They're superhumans, but they're hypersapiens in this world. So this is kind of in a dystopian future, kind of a cyberpunk aesthetic, but it's basically the fall of a government, and all of their powers are being limited by these suits to where they can't use their full abilities. So they've basically been enslaved as a whole country, which is extending to other countries in the world. So it's becoming like this world domination kind of thing. And these hypersapien rebels are trying to kind of stop this. But they're not good. They're not good guys necessarily. So they're not they're not someone you would naturally root for.
Right on. So what were like your bigger inspirations when you went to like set out to do this book? Sorry, my ring light just like fell.
So these characters were created back in the 1990s. So when I was a kid, I started creating these characters. So actually I have for instance, one of the main characters in this book is a guy named Fume. And this is Fume. I don't know if you can see, but this is Fume, and he has the power to evaporate on command based by rage. So he kind of evaporates and becomes like this smoke creature kind of thing. But in 1996, his name was not Fume, it was Vapor. It was Vapor. So this was my drawing from 1996.
Oh, there you go.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been working on these for a while. So actually what happened was, as a kid, I wanted to be a comic book artist, right? And then when I was a tween, I guess you would say, I got into music. I started playing guitar, started writing songs. I was in bands for years. Around 2016, it kind of went full circle. I was looking at some of my old drawings from when I was a kid, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to make. I think I really want to do something with this. So, I like some of these drawing. I'm sorry, whoops. But in this book, it is not me who's drawn this. It's J.C. Grande, who's a professional artist, but as you can see, like this frame right here are based completely off of old drawings that I did
As a
to
kid.
yeah. So I was
wow.
really trying to incorporate a lot of what I did into this story to like hold true to the original, vision I had for these characters back in the 90s. But I was heavily influenced by Marvel and, X-Men, Avengers, Daredevil. I mean, those were like the three main titles I was reading from Marvel. But Batman was my main. That was my first love. I think my introduction to superheroes.
Yeah, so
Oh, shoot.
I was getting a lot of X-Men vibes from this book. I was like, hey, this looks pretty similar. So was that like a intentional? Because I know like as a kid, like we always try to like come up with like, oh my
Right.
gosh, what if like we could create our own X-Men characters?
Oh,
Was that like
Exactly. Actually, it was intentional, and I actually created some of those characters to be in the X-Men in Marvel when I was a kid. Because in my mind, I thought that they would, I actually like sent them into Marvel and submitted some of these characters, like, "Hey, take my characters for free." They didn't, but but that these characters were as a kid in my head, I did have X-Men in mind for some of them for sure. Yeah. But it's kind of the same kind of thing. It's, overcoming oppression, and there's a lot of a sprinkling of politics in there, I guess. I try not to get too political, but there's a sprinkling of it. So, yeah.
So how did you go about like finding an artist for this book?
So I just reached out I went to DeviantArt and I searched Instagram, and I, went the normal routes, and I ended up finding, I think it was actually through DeviantArt. I found JC Grande, and he is an excellent artist. We had a lot of the same, he's about my age, and I'm 40, just full disclaimer. I'm an old guy. So, we have like some of the same, influences, from the same era. So we definitely were on the same page with a lot of this stuff, and it took a while. Because he was doing all of the artwork. He did all of the penciling, the inking, the coloring, and I know it was a big challenge for him. So I did a Kickstarter a few years ago and got a lot of backers to help me. So. Hey.
Yeah, and Tim is also writing a book that he sent over to me. So yeah, you guys have a lot in common. Definitely hit him
Cool.
up.
Maybe we can collab in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So this book is the beginning. It's kind of like just to kind of sum it up, like it is. I did have the Wizard of Oz in mind, and I did have as well Star Wars in mind when I wrote this, as far as the way it kind of plays out. So with Star Wars, it kind of, like if you're seeing episode 4, the first Star Wars movie that came out for the first time, right? It's like you're just thrown right into it. Right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I wanted to do this. This wasn't the actual story I started with. I started with one of the character, Alexander's like origin story. So this wasn't even called Shadows when I first started writing it. I completely rewrote it in 2018 because the original script was 2016. But I thought it would be more interesting to like throw you into the middle of things and just let you kind of figure things out as we go. But there are definitely some intentional tropes in there.
Yeah, I for sure dug like the cyberpunk vibe of it. Like that is like one of my favorite genres of movies.
Yeah.
So like Blade Runner.
Yes.
And, kind of like the dystopian, like Children of Men style, like type thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I definitely don't know if it was intentional, but from the world especially, I definitely got some Blade Runner vibes.
Awesome. Yes, it definitely was. Yeah, very inspired by Blade Runner. Yeah, and cyberpunk stuff in general.
What piece of sci-fi anymore isn't inspired by Blade Runner?
Very true. It's kind of the granddaddy of new sci-fi, right?
Oh, for sure.
Never seen Blade Runner.
Oh my gosh, you have to. Oh,
yeah, both of them.
You know how many times people are like talking about movies? I'm like, I didn't see that one. They're like, oh my god, you didn't see that one? I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like,
I think that's a staple. That's definitely one you have to put in your list, put in your queue. I think it's on HBO Max. I'm pretty sure.
Like, how do y'all have this much time in your day to watch every damn movie in the world?
Oh,
It's
I'm about to go on a double feature like next Saturday or something. Go from like Morbius to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
Oh, I heard you can like miss Morbius. It's so funny because
my cousin wanted to see it. Like she digs horror. So
I've heard it's better as long as you go in with low expectations. You should.
I hate when people say that. Go into low expectations and you'll be.
For these are the people that made Venom.
You know what?
No.
If I ever on a first date and I have the lowest expectations, that mean it's really a good date? No, that just means that you didn't have your bar set high. Stop. That just doesn't sit well with me. Like we were watching a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix edition for Dylan's horror show, and we were like, oh well, if you lower your expectations, it's a good movie. Well, what if my expectations are like a normal movie? It's still trash.
I mean,
man, it's funny because everyone's like either movies are like all the way up here on your list, or it's like you can't even make it through the theater.
I'm probably gonna wait for a video for that one. To be honest,
I think I'm just gonna
probably. I don't know, but oh shoot, what was mine?
Moon Knight, though, on the other hand, is pretty jamming. But
Moon Knight's great. I liked Moon Knight.
Pretty sure I made my mother watch that with me. She looked at me. She's like, I have no idea
what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like that's kind of the point.
Right. Right.
So Matt, so what else is going on about your book that you would like to talk about? Have you talk a little about the characters for us?
Yeah. So it is for sale now. So it's actually on Amazon. So if you look for it, it's Shadows graphic novel and Adam Matthew Smith. The three names are important because any two of those names you'll get lost in the algorithm. It's so common, right?
Common like a name.
You got to have the three. But yeah, it's so it's on Amazon. It's on my website, adammatthewsmith.com, so you can get it through there as well.
Comicsology.
Yeah, Comicsology. So I think I missed the cons because I tried to get into Artist Alley, but I missed the setups for the cons for this year because it just came out. So I probably won't be at any cons until next year, but I'm doing some mini cons this summer, like tiny ones. But I'll try to get into Comic-Con and MegaCon, all that next year, hopefully in Artist Alley. Yeah.
There you go. You should come up to Baltimore, man.
Yeah, I'd love to tour. Yeah.
Dude, definitely at a Baltimore Comic-Con. That's home con for us.
Yeah.
Not for him anyway.
You're coming out this year.
I want to 1 year, but they always have it in the middle of my semester, and if I miss one class, I might it's like the equivalent of missing like a freaking week.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, yeah.
Anyway, you guys, all of Matthew's links, if you guys do want to check out more of Shadows, are in the description below. Because I know he was also on YouTube. The trailer was. So all of that will be added to the description below after the video. So definitely take a look at that. Nice. And Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Awesome. Glad to be here.
No problem, brother. Have a good night, and thank you so much for giving us your time. I hope everything works out with the book, man. You guys have our blessings.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No problem, brother. Take care. All right. So we just talked about ASM, we talked about Shadows, and we talked about Swamp Thing. I'm gonna kick us off with another book. Let's talk about my pick of the week. I'm gonna get into Immortal X-Men. This is by Kieran Gillen and Lucas Wernick. I have been highly anticipating this book, you guys. All you guys know that I'm a big X-Men fan. I've been following what's been going on very closely. I have been very excited for this book, and it did meet my expectations. This book is revolved around Sinister's plans for the Quiet Council and him basically playing a big old chess game with Mystique, Destiny, Emma Frost. Magneto's retiring. So we start off like in the past of Destiny and Sinister sitting down, and then like Mystique comes in, and so they have these plans for the future. We see like this foreshadowing. So when we get to Krakoa, we're trying to figure out who is going to take Magneto's spot. So for the main part of Krakoa these past few years, it has been very much the trio of Charles Xavier, Moira McTaggart, and Magneto keeping this big secret of Moira's past lives. They would not resurrect Destiny because her and Moira had different visions for the future, right? Because Destiny's mutant ability is to see the future, right? So this book is very much revolved around the consequences of what happened in Inferno, right? So Destiny got resurrected because Mystique decided to trick Hope into resurrecting her. Trick Hope into Rachel. Trick Rachel into resurrecting her. And then, so we went from there, and now Magneto is like, you know what? All my secrets are out. I'm gone, right? See you guys. I'm retiring to Arakko so he can live out the rest of his life because he doesn't really want to keep the blame. And Emma Frost has been aware. She was told, she was brought into everything, and she exposed it to the Quiet Council. And now we're seeing everyone's reactions and who they want to take his spot. There were a few names that come into mind. There was Selene, who is a magic user for the Hellfire Club, and she got rejected. And she's like, she made a big threat: if I don't get on the seat, I will do something. Sinister wants the other person to be on the council, and it's Rachel, right? It's Rachel. I keep getting confused of which one it is. It's like that looks pretty good the way Bryce's bottom is. Oh well. But I believe it is Rachel, right? Bryce? So Rachel or Hope? I always get the two.
I think Hope is the one that got elected.
Yes.
It is definitely Hope. Because, I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Hope. I keep getting the two of them confused. It is Hope.
I always get Scott's. Is that like the whole Summers family? Like, is Hope supposed to be Scott's daughter?
So Hope was raised by Cable. So read Messiah Complex. Hope was raised by Cable because she is like the mutant Messiah, and she came back. Yeah, it's Hope.
Yeah, right. Okay, Rachel's a non-factor right now.
So this was great because of Sinister's foreshadowing to these events. Because Sinister has his own plans, so he wants Hope to be on the council because she falls into those plans, right? He doesn't really want Selene because Selene is going to combat that, right? He's like, these are the people that I have that are definitely going to agree with me. And Selene will not be one of them. So let me have somebody else. And we figure out later that Sinister's whole plans are to rewrite the timeline because he ended up cloning Moira McTaggart at the end, which is pretty cool because now Sinister has control. He can reset the timeline almost at whim and make sure that certain things fall, right? And he's basically, this allows him to be one step ahead of everybody. I explained this much better on the monthly comic book review over on Robbie's. I've just had a week and I'm just off today. I am so sorry, you guys, but this book was great. I absolutely love the way that Kieran Gillen wrote Sinister in this book. I love the way that Lucas Wernick drew this book. He did draw Trial Magneto, which was a warm-up for him because that book looked like trash, and this one is just leaps and bounds better. I really like this book, and this has my hopes up really high for the X-Men in the future because we've seen Hickman take this back seat, right? But we've seen all the stories be very structured in the way that, okay, this can be a Hickman book, right? For example, Lives and Deaths of Wolverine. Ben Percy is not clever enough to come up with half of those ideas. It's almost like, hey, Ben, how about you write Wolverine, but make sure you include this, this, and this. It is the same thing in the chemistry between Kieran Gillen and Hickman in this book is great. And if y'all want to say otherwise, you're wrong, because Hickman is very much involved in the editorial of this book. Talk with my hands a lot.
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm looking for Jonathan Hickman's name in the credits, and I'm not seeing it.
He's head of X.
They still had him listed as head of X for a while, but I'm not seeing him in the credits in this book.
Is he not head of X? Because he's still in editorial with the book.
I don't know, but this definitely does feel Hickman-esque. And I mean, Gillen too is a very cerebral writer. And this was a very, slow-paced, political, and a very cerebral type book, which Gillen is no stranger to. He's not as well versed in it as Hickman, but I mean, if you're gonna have Jonathan Hickman take a backseat for a little bit, or if Jonathan Hickman's going to ask to take a backseat for a little bit,
right?
Kieran Gillen is one of those writers that can fill his shoes almost seamlessly. I wouldn't quite say seamlessly, but it wouldn't be as jarring of a transition with a writer like Gillen.
Oh, Gillen is one of the best writers in Marvel right now, and I'll put that against anyone else.
Oh yeah,
Him and Ewing are probably in if I had to rank them right now, it would probably be Donny Cates, in no particular order. Donny Cates, Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing, Chip Zdarsky, and Jed McKay.
Yeah,
As of right now, no particular
definitely
order
Jed McKay
at all. But what this book does great, we're in this weird period where the X-Men are immortal, right? They've achieved immortality through resurrection, and we're learning the consequences of that. You are very vulnerable. You are so fragile right now, but you're immortal, right? So how do you deal with that? How does Sinister react to it? How does the Quiet Council, right? When you have all of these personalities in one place, all of these Omega level mutants, how are we going to solve this? So that's what this book is all about. Magneto is taking himself out of the picture, and he's going over to Arakko. He's going to be an X-Men Red because, he's not going to be able to find peace and happiness. And I really liked this book. I really dug it. What's going on, Eric?
Oh yeah, no, this book was almost my pick of the week.
Really? What was your pick of the week?
Almost my pick of the week. Well, we can get into it right now, and that's Shadow War Alpha. Y'all know Joshua Williamson writes a really good book. It's probably going to be my pick of the week just because I'm that big of a fan of Williamson's writing.
Right.
Like, we talk about the best writers Marvel has right now. I would put Joshua Williamson in the top 3 writers that DC has right now. But basically, this is like the culmination of everything that's been going on in Batman, everything that's been going on in Robin, and while I haven't been reading it, everything that's been going on in Deathstroke Inc. But basically, the whole deal with this is Ra's al Ghul is dying. The Lazarus Pits are cursed. We find that out in Robin. And he decides he wants to do better for the world. And he kind of drags Talia into it. And he wants to go public. Well, as he's going public, we see Damien looking over, watching him. Him and Bruce have a reunion. Somewhat. But while this is going on, Ra's gets shot.
Right.
Like, shot in the head, dead by an apparent death stroke.
I don't know if Sinister has utilized his Moira clones yet. I'm not sure. That, to me, was not specified. But this is due for a reread. So I probably will give this another look before the second issue. We can probably talk about that further.
Yeah. But, they go to stop this death stroke. Damien tries to go tend to Ra's. There's a bomb there. Batman pushes Damien out of the way, and the bomb blows up Ra's body. So there is no body left to take to the Lazarus Pit.
Right.
Damien, of course, gets upset. He starts yelling at Bruce, basically saying, hey, I've lost 2. What is going on, man? I've lost 2 grandfathers because of your decision. Decisions that you have made have cost me 2 grandfathers, Ra's and Alfred.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Batman's reaction to that whole sequence was
I'm getting to that, and I'm still, that's the reason I took a pause, is I'm still in shock. Because Damien's basically pouring everything out to him, and Bruce just says, if I were there, I could have saved Alfred.
Right. That was, to me,
that was not what you want to say.
I was just like, oh, that just sank.
So he's pretty much, at least for the time being, completely severed his relationship with Damien.
I would be pissed too.
I mean, yeah. No, yeah. If I
love Damien. I think honestly, Damien's like, ugh.
Damien's probably... Damien, other than maybe Dick Grayson and Clark Kent, Damien is probably the best written character in DC right now.
Yeah.
The best written character. There are books that are better than Robin, but his character development in that title has been unmatched. And honestly, if I'm Damien, I'm going to Bloodhaven. Honestly, I know Nightwing has been littered with crossovers as is. Why not add another meaningful one in there? Send Damien to Bloodhaven for a little bit so him and Dick can have a heart-to-heart. That's what I'd do. But anyway, it's not going to be for a while because this whole Shadow War thing. They try to send Talia to the Lazarus Pit because she gets shot. But she says, no, like this is a war. We've got to stop Deathstroke. We have to kill Deathstroke. And we get introduced to this group she's going to use for that purpose called the Demon Shadow, which looks like a lot of fighters from the Lazarus tournament mixed with some people she found like on the street. Or some that have been trained there for a while. It's an eclectic group of people.
Right.
So then we flash to the Deathstroke Inc. headquarters. I don't know if this was a reveal in Deathstroke Inc., but if not, we finally find out who Respawn is from the Robin run. And it is Slade's son.
Well, he's a clone. He's his half son. He's
Okay,
a clone of. So he is a clone of Deathstroke mixed with Talia's DNA. So
Okay.
basically Damien's stepbrother.
That's okay. I thought he looked like Damien. Okay, Ben Percy's Teen Titans run. I wasn't reading a whole lot. I think I was only pulling like Flash and stuff when that Titans run was going on, so I got to go back and read that. I like Percy.
Yeah, Damien, Rob. Yeah. Yo, I think like Damien's characterization right now is so great, and I think we look at this character 10 years from now, and I think he's going to be even more established than Tim Drake. Damien is going to be the best Robin of all time, and it's not going to question. It is time that we start thinking about that.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I think Damien right now is getting, like, over the past year, Damien is seemingly getting more character development than Jason Todd did in, like, 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Tim Drake, you got the perpetual 17-year-old over here, Tim Drake.
Right.
They're not doing anything with him right now, which sucks, but I'm glad to see Damien get some of the love. But there's a twist at the end of this book where Slade's training his son. He hears about this news of Raish getting shot by apparently him. He looks at the costumes like, look, I haven't worn that costume in years. It's an imposter. It's an imposter. And so while they're doing that, this Demon Shadow comes in, tries to assassinate Deathstroke. So this event is going to go completely bonkers. First, we get the assassination of Ra's al Ghul. Batman is going to have, somebody's going to have to end up, not that Deathstroke really needs protection, but Batman and Deathstroke are going to end up teaming up against this because, Batman is obviously going to try to help somebody that's trying to, have assassination attempts on them. But I think that's where it's going. I think that's where Batman will play into this because so far this seems like a Robin Deathstroke event with Batman involved.
Yeah, I don't know. Williamson writes a good Batman, and I'm okay with him keeping Batman out of this one.
But he's in it. He's in it anyway. This upcoming week's issue of Batman is part 2 of Shadow War.
Right.
So I think this week we will really find out what Batman's role is. But I am here for the fact, I'm here for Robin being the central character. I really am, especially given that it's Damien. I never thought I would see the day where I would get a Damien Wayne centric event and part 1 of it be my pick of the week.
Right. I kind of agree with with the ending of the book. Where it was like, okay, it's not him, and now he's gonna figure it out. I was like, yeah, that was a little weak to me, but we'll see where it goes because it is an alpha. I mean, it has me more excited than Joker War or Fear State.
Oh yeah,
this little mini event could be harmless.
What's going on, Dad? You're on your podcast account tonight. How about that?
But. I haven't really been the highest on Williamson. I've been so low on Deathstroke until the last issue that came out last week. I've been really high on Robin. This event right now,
Batman's been kind of.
It's good. It's good. It's in between my thoughts of Deathstroke and Robin, so it's right here. It's okay.
I don't know. I enjoyed this alpha issue just as much as I have most issues of Robin. Now the heights of some of the issues of Robin were way higher than this, but if I were to average out my thoughts on the Robin one as a whole,
I agree with this hot take.
This issue would meet my average Robin thoughts.
If I'm ranking Batman runs, I'm going Morrison, King, Dini, and then I guess the rest.
I mean, I haven't read Tom King's run. That I do like his writing though, so I would want to give that a shot.
Well, Tynan's Detective. Well, if I'm putting Tynan's Detective, I'll go Morrison, Morrison, King, Dini, Tynan, and then Tynan's Detective Comics. His ongoing Batman was and then Snyder and
Dragon War was good, and the Miracle Model stuff was good.
Yeah, it was fine. It's a lost thing now. It's like forgotten about, so I'm gonna leave it there.
Williamson pretty much threw all of Fear State out the window as soon as it ended.
But and Williamson's Batman is still in the garbage can. So there's.
It's been okay. I definitely think that whole Abyss thing was just like an uninspired. It was just like, okay, well, I got to write 3 issues to get the Shadow War. Like let's do this. Get the Shadow War we're gonna have
a break because no Zdarsky coming.
And then Zdarsky, yeah, which that is what I'm excited for.
Right. But anyway, guys, I think that does wrap up this week. That does wrap up this week. Coming up on the channel this Wednesday with the PCP Army Bad Batch, we are going to be talking about Moon Knight, episode 1. And then our predictions for episode 2. Obviously, we're recording that before episode 2 drops. So just spoiler for episode 1 and like a precursor to episode 2. And then we have archives coming out on Friday. We're going to be doing Ultimate X-Men, which is going to be dope. You can check out our Ultimate Fantastic Four review that was just posted. And then other than that, join us Friday. Join us Friday for another week of weekly wrap-up because we are moving the show. Because I got a new job and everything. I'm going to be putting an announcement out on Instagram for that. But thank you guys so much for your support of the channel and sticking with us throughout this transition. So thank you guys so much for all the support. All right, you guys. Have a very happy Monday. Have a good rest of your week. Take care. Station.
See y'all Friday. Have a good one.
You know, that's a good thing, baby.